as I'm walking around here, I've been walking around for a while now. I'm just understanding more and more how far out and away from all of this I've become to be. You know, I couldn't imagine like going to like an establishment right here and just doing a 9 to 5 or 9 to whatever they want to call it and saying, okay, I'm just going to get in with this. Like, that's all there is to life. You know, like if you want to get a education in Harvard, you can't get it out here where I'm at. And not everyone out here or in Harvard does it the same way. You got people going to Harvard doing all kind of things. You can't get it out here where I'm at. You got people going to Harvard doing all kind of things. But if I wanted to get an education at Harvard, I couldn't do it out here where I'm at. I had to go to Harvard to do it. Right? So, I mean, Harvard has got one thing going on, and this has got another thing going on. Because you can go to Harvard, you become all kinds of things. You become a lawyer, you become a business manager or associate degrees and whatever they call that shit. You can become a doctor. You become Mark Zuckerberg. That's how crazy shit is. He went there to become whatever the fuck he wanted to become, and he ends up becoming Mr. Facebook. But yeah, I guess he had to go to Harvard to do it because he stole it from somebody. Anyhow, look, man. Jesus did, in his day, about 2,000 odd years ago, in Siddhartha, Buddha, the one who became Buddha, merged into the Buddha, they did what they did, and some others did what they did. It's kind of difficult to find that path at Harvard. You got to kind of get out and away from all that. And this day and age, it's not like it was in their day and age. You got all this and all that. You still have palaces. You still have Caesar. You still have Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and so on and so forth. But it's quite different. It's quite different. In those days, they probably didn't call it a bum. They probably had another term for it. These days, it's like it's just one size fits all, you know? But when you go to Harvard, it's kind of quite a few things you can fucking do there. Besides just go there and become a fucking school teacher after 4 years of fucking getting a bachelor's. So my point is this, I can't do it. I can't do what you do, how you do it. I just can't. If you put me to the restaurant right now and say, look, just be the guy who waits at these tables and be a waiter, I'll do that for a hot second before my mind's off someplace else doing something else. I'm focused on something else right now, and that'll be the way it is until I resolve it. For whatever it's worth, that's how it is. I just see the world as so simple. All this out here, if I had it, I wouldn't give a shit about what you do and how you do it. If I had the money, I just wouldn't. I'd be what they call a rich eccentric. I wouldn't give a fuck about a BMW. I wouldn't give a fuck about any of it. I'd be like, but it'd be nice to you because in this world you need money. It'd be nice to have the fucking money, it really would be. But I wouldn't do it the way a lot of people would do it. I just wouldn't. Wouldn't give a flying fuck, man. Whatever. I wouldn't give a fuck about coming over here and hanging out at Jack Sparrow's wine bar. I really wouldn't. I'd be someplace so chill. I really would. More than likely, so chill. And say, look, I really am curious about this place right here. Do you have a place in this motherfucker where I can just go and be left alone? No, well, it's not that serious to me, so I don't need to get some VIP shit and get on extra shit and have you VIPing the shit out. But I am curious, so can you DoorDash that shit to my fucking place? But the promenade and all that shit, I don't give a fuck, man. So it just doesn't, don't get it twisted, you know? There are things I give a fuck about, there really are. But if I had it, I wouldn't feel the need to go showing off about it. I'd do it in secret as much as possible. If I had Halle Berry, you say, well, that's stupid. You show that off, bro. You put that on your shoulder and walk down and say, this is my girl. I guess you do. And here's the remix of fucking goddamn it, the Scrubs, I think, going on back here over here. No, it's another one. I think it's J-Lo's rendition of it, you know? Whatever. I don't give a fuck about that bitch either. Nor Halle Berry for that matter. I was just using that as an example. If there are all those out there I do give a fuck about, but not Halle Berry. But yeah, I guess my point is, I guess I missed the mark on quite a few of them because they don't quite understand it. And you always have the explanation. There's really no way to explain it when you're walking down this way and that way, you know? You got to find someone to explain things, you know? And it probably still doesn't make a fucking difference. Probably still doesn't make a difference with a good bit of them, you know? Then it does make a difference to others. Like I say all the time, it's not so much what you do, but when, where, why, and how you do it. But the initial presumption is there must be something disturbed in you. So that's like, oh wow, you know? And it's understandable. You know? Like, I just had this guy pass by a moment ago talking to this lady. I'm presuming to be his lady. Right here just a moment ago. And he makes a remark that, well, you know, at least he finds the time to work out. And that's kind of how we do things. Because we're looking for something there that says that's value. And that's why we make associations between Siddhartha and Buddha and Jesus and the Christ heart. Because otherwise, there's no value there. But that's opposite from what they taught. So like I said, it's kind of a different playing ground. It's changed a bit, but it's like it was 2,000 years ago. People are generally still people. 7 is still fucking 7. 7, 7, 7. 11 is still 11. And they evolve, don't they? Now the one can go just single like this. Now it goes a little different, and you hook it this way and that way. And next thing you know, look at all the font we've got on the computer these days. And they're still coming up with more. But the ABCs are still the fucking ABCs, and the 1, 2, 3s are still the 1, 2, 3s at its fucking essence. And we're still going round and round. But to be honest with you, I can give a shit about a lot of this, man. I really could. And I don't say it to say, you know, I feel superior or it makes me superior. I'm just saying it to say that I'm just on a different plane. But then again, I'm some crazy black nigger motherfucker come from Orion, right? One of these days, you're going to find out that that's the truth. Either that or I'm just fucking nuts. I've been thinking about doing a polygraph here. And paying some money, going and doing a polygraph, and then putting the results up that you can go and call and certify and see what the results are and so forth. About the situation where I did. Well, see, I've been experiencing the miraculous, so-called miraculous, you know, things that don't fucking tie into physics, laws of physics, for quite a few decades now. But there was this one instance. It happened once that I can say verifiably that happened once, and then it never happened again to date that I can think of. That I can place my finger on and say yes or no about it, you know. But this time I can say, boom, this is what it was, and this was the source, and that's all it was to it. I think I had a polygraph on that thing and give you the results, and you can see that results is I passed with flying colors. That either means I'm crazy as a motherfucker, and I believe my own fucking madness to that extent, and you can textbook that shit and say, okay, well, I guess so. And you'll say, well, it doesn't show up in textbooks. So no, this doesn't show up in textbooks. It's too elaborate. It's too sophisticated to say that's just some nutcase shit. And then you'll see that it will pass, and you'll say, that actually happened, or he's so fucking nuts that he just really believes with all his fervor that happened. And I'll tell you what happened, like I told you so many other times. I was sitting in county jail, this is right here in Orlando, Florida. Sitting that motherfucker in a cell. Long story short, I'm going to tell you how we got into it and what the whole thing was. about it, but that's just really not necessary. But I was on some kind of a restrictive diet, right? And I was bitching about all kind of shit. You know, I was on it for a good little while. It was all protocol. But one of them, one day, because I was bitching about cookies and shit, right? In my little cell over there I was in. And one of the guards come by, and he's kind of like going to show me a little lesson here about the cookies, I guess, and what it was. But I wanted the goddamn cookies, because I really didn't have that much to eat anyway. I'm on rations like a motherfucker, right? So he tosses the motherfucker in there. I'm looking for the fucking cookies, because I'm doing the inventory. I always do an inventory at this point of what it comes in that motherfucker. I don't just start eating. I do an inventory first. So I open the bag, because it's in a bag, brown bag, sack. I open it. I'll look inside, start taking things out one by one. Or either I dumped it out. It was 2020. It was 2020. This is now in 2026. But I took it one by one, or I dumped it right there, all right there in front of me. Either way. So now I'm looking through it before I eat. And I'm finding no cookies there. None. Now I'm pissed and livid. I'm bitching and moaning about the cookies that were not there. And it didn't have that many items in the motherfucker to begin with. So it's not like it got mixed up somehow and it was in the cell. No, they cleaned that cell is cleaned the fuck out. Every day is cleaned out. Every day is cleaned out every fucking morning. You know, no one came in that motherfucker. No one was there. And I'm gonna tell you what, it was in the bag. It was always in the bag. It was in the bag. It didn't come from underneath the fucking bed. None of that shit. It didn't fall out of the goddamn sky. So I had fucking a sandwich. I had a juice. And I would have had the cookies. But I didn't have the fucking cookies. So I tossed that shit aside. When I was done with everything and picking everything up to put everything back into the fucking bag, because I did that as well, that was my MO. There was a bag, there was one of the bags, so they had little individual bags in there. There's a bag like this, right? Little white individual bags, and that's what the cookies would have came in. So I look, it's twisted a little top on top of it, a little twisted, just a little bit of twisted, a little twister right there, and that had some weight in it. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I look inside, and there's two cookies, Jailhouse cookies, the same issue, wasn't Oreos or something, Toll House or fucking Maxwell House, anything special. Same fucking thing. Well, I shouldn't say it was anything special, but it's the same goddamn issue. It looked just like the fucking cookies that they issued in jail, but in this case, they were quite exemplary, because it wasn't that. This shit manifested out of thin fucking air. And you say, well, that's easy, because what happened is you just didn't see the cookies because you're fucking psycho, but they were there. But then after you came back, you found the fucking cookies. They were there. Now you notice the fucking cookies. Now and that explains all of that shit. And it is an explanation. But see, when they found out that I had cookies, because they watched that cell like you don't even fucking know. They wanted to know where the fuck the cookies came from. And after they went and looked and checked and camera, blah, 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 some bitch comes up to me and says, you gave us a miracle. She's accusing me of giving her a miracle. And I told her, I didn't give you a motherfucking thing. And I didn't. But so many things were going on during that fucking time. Like I said, it was time for me to receive that level of miracle. Or that level of the so-called miraculous. And I can polygraph on that shit, and I think I will. So you have to come up with a whole lot of conclusions on that one. So when I tell you, and this is just one isolated case, I just don't see it the way you see it. I'm just not where you're at. I'm someplace so fucking different from where your average person is at. I mean that from my heart. From the bottom of my being and further, I mean it. I just don't see it the way you see it. 9 out of 10 of you. And you don't see it the way everybody else sees it, you know? But there's a general way of seeing it. Just like there's a general way of all kind of shit. You generally get cookies out of thin fucking air. Add in the you thing when I'm ready to do it. And I've done it, and I can still do it when I'm ready to do it. Add in all the other miraculous stuff, and I can polygraph and all that too. You can go and look at my YouTube. That should give you some kind of evidence right there that I'm not just fucking talking about shits and giggles. At least on something, gives you some kind of evidence. Evidence is worth quite a bit. And I wouldn't make this up. If I was going to make something up, to tell you the truth, I'd make up something more grandiose. You know? A lot more grandiose. And it wouldn't be so like, what the hell was that? He's sitting in county jail, right? Cookies pop up and blah, 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 blah. That's a real life actual fucking account, man. And so what does that mean for me? That means for me, I got a lot of shit I need to do. I can't do what I've done so far all this goddamn time. It's time for me to do something different. You know? Yeah, I'm looking for something. Like everyone else is looking for something. And I guess, and like what's his name say, get rich or die trying. That's what the hell he is looking for, you know? But I swear to God, if I got rich right now in a day, just like it would be like for a lot of you, I don't think that'd answer every goddamn thing I need to answer in the fucking world. But it answered quite a few things. It freed me up. It freed me up for quite a few things. To get on something a lot more worthwhile, I think, yeah? That's what I do. But I mean, we're talking about that education a moment ago, right? The difference between Harvard and this shit right here. I couldn't fucking get what I've got and do what I've done if I was doing it someplace else, doing it somehow or other. I got something very specific and particular to what I do and how I do it and how I've done it. And I can't say it's all been all in vain. I have to say I've acquired quite a bit. You know, you can't put this shit in a fucking book and sell it for fucking 20 grand a fucking year for tuition at Harvard. It's quite snowflaked in what it is.